Americans got a voice and freedom. We all know Maxim Gorky. He shot himself in the lungs to end his life at the age of 21. But because he didn't die, he produced some of the best literatures that we can see. We all know that H.G. Wells wrote to his teacher that he wants to end his life because he feels so useless. And the teacher said, I always knew you wrote very well in English and became one of the finest authors of the world. I'm telling you, at a given time you might feel useless. But remember, God has designed you for a special purpose on this earth. You may not remember the messages of Ramayan. But the Ramayan has a big secret which I'll leave you with. And the big secret is, when Naradji meets Valyo Lutaro, the robber, who can't understand Ramayan, do you think he'll understand all this stuff of insights? Do you think he'll know what conflict is despite the fact he created them? He won't know. He was a totally illiterate tribal. The only thing he had, he trusted Narad because he found out that nobody would share his sins. You don't have an excuse કે સ્વામી મારા ઘરને જમાડવું હોય ને એટલે મારે corruption કરવું પડે. Corruption won't be shared. When you go to jail, your family won't. I'm telling you the truth. So don't try and shift your responsibilities. Accountability and responsibility. Naradji made him accountable, Valyo, and he made him responsible. Then he gave him the mantra of Ram. Simply chanting the name of Ram and trust in a sadhu transform Valyo the robber into Valmiki the sage. The biggest challenge and conflict you and me may face is self-transformation. Remember, we always want to be someone else. And we always want to be somewhere else. અત્યારે કેટલાને થતું હશે અહીંયા ઘરે ગયો તો આમ થાય, forget it, be here. We always want to be somewhere else and we always want to be someone else. Naradji showed the path to Valmiki that with the faith in God and also with faith in sadhu, you can achieve the ultimate transformation. In 1990, 12th April, in Bhavnagar, I'm giving you facts because it's nothing just deep down, it's facts in our time. 44 villages gathered together, 33 from Odarka and 11 from Kukkad. These villages, rural villages, had been fighting for over 200 years. Because of a family feud, just Saurashtra thai ne. You know, one family kills somebody else from the other family, then their villages, then... So these 44 villages were at war. For how many years? Last 200 years. The British have a mention that they tried to broker peace, could not. Krishna Kumar Singh ji, he tried, he could not. Everybody had failed. The hatred had gone so much, they never went to each other's villages, they never married. They used to say they never even took cigarettes from each other. That's, cigarette is, don't say I'm advocating it, but still. But say they refused to take cigarettes from each other and they refused to drink water from each other's well. Apaya, that's the word. For more than 200 years. Pramukh Swami went there. With God in front. He started calling all the leaders and first he said, identify. Your conflict is 200 years old, don't bring it now. Then he simplified. The people who killed your forefathers are none of these people. Simplified. Then he rectified. That stop swearing and hurting and stop creating martyr stones. Every village had martyr stones. Padya. So they always remember, oh, my forefathers have died, so let me kill one. They have more, I have less. Mathematics. So this is how war is. This is how conflict is. Why conflicts go on? I'm just saying on the side. Why conflicts never end? Because when the other guy is telling you something, you are always rehearsing what you have to say. You don't listen. Why conflicts never get solved? When your wife is shouting at you, you are already preparing an answer. So you are not listening. So you answer something totally out of the context and it explodes. So I am trying to tell you, Swami first identified. Then he simplified. Then he rectified. Then he magnified that, look, you have no problem. You can rise beyond this conflict. Then he asked them to unify. He created a ceremony where we brought in waters from 44 wells of 44 villages. Poured it in one gado. Then he pacified. He said, look, accept the situation. This has happened. 110 people have died. They have died. So he took that water, gave each one a cup to drink, exemplified. Unless you take it in, unless you take the mantra, which Valio the robber did, he could not change. They all drank. Then he removed all the martyr stones from all 44 villages, so this hatred would not spring back again. This is how he solved the conflict of Appaya. It began with the family, it entered the society, and it continued into the country. Unless you do all this stuff with the name of God, nothing can take care of itself. So all I ask this evening, in conclusion, all I ask, that the most important thing that we all have to do is first, God has brought you on this earth with a firm resolution. The Kathopanishad says, Etad alambanam shreshtham, etad alambanam param, etad alambanam gnatva brahmaloke mahiyate. If you take God as your support and trust a sadhu who is true, if you take care of your own energies, then you will find a way out of all the maya into heaven. Forget about the little conflicts of this earth. Because God has given the power to every single creature of His creation. For example, the mosquito, machhar, the smallest, negligible creation of God. Okay? Even once Pramukh Swami asked, Kya Bhagwan ya machhar kem banaya? I'm just trying to say. So if you and me ask, that's fine. He asked, because I think he must have been harassed by them, whatever the issue was. So it's the most negligible creation of God. But I ask you, has anybody ever seen, even in torrential rain, a dead mosquito? Have you ever imagined, atla machhar nana, heavy rains chale છે, how does the machhar survive? એની પાસે ક્યાં ઘર છે? I can guarantee scientists have done experiments where they've created torrential rains and they've asked the mosquito fly, forced it. And rains are perhaps the biggest conflict for a mosquito. The mathematics says that the speed, the weight and momentum of the raindrop makes the raindrop 10,000 times more in weight than the mosquito. It's like a human being crashing with a truck traveling at 10,000 miles per hour. Okay? And the raindrop is not just one. There are thousands and thousands coming along. Still they say, you will never find a single dead mosquito. Do you know why? First, it has the ability to dodge. But it can't dodge all. So when, just listen to me, when the raindrop hits a mosquito, instead of resisting it, it goes with the flow. Samjh gaya? It goes with the flow for about 4 inches, then slowly it slips off. That's an art. You know, don't start fighting instantly, at least 2 hours, listen. You'll find a window to move out. Okay, so it goes with the flow, then within 4 inches it slips out. Okay, and then in 1/100th of a second it returns back to its position. Back up 4 inches. If it gets hit again, the same procedure. 1,000 times, the same procedure. The mosquito has the power first to dodge, second to go with the flow, third to slip off, fourth to be resilient, to get back where it was, and do it 100, 1,000, 1,000,000 times. It never feels any conflict. For human comparison, the scientists have said, if you go out in the rain, instead of the raindrops, it's ambassador cars falling. Dub, dub. Try and survive. We won't even get out. Why? Because we think. Because mosquitoes don't think they survive, and we think we don't survive. It's our own mind that defeats us first before we face a conflict. આપણે એમ જ લાગે ડિવોર્સ તો મરી ગયો, પણ ક્યાં મર્યા છે, જીવીશ, હજુ તો વધારે જીવીશ. I'm trying to tell you, we tend to think it's our own mind working against us because the mosquito doesn't think. I'm not saying. My conclusion, I'll give you 2 little examples before I conclude. My conclusion is, if anybody who can safely cross the relief road in Ahmedabad can face any conflict in this earth. Why? I'll tell you, when you are crossing a road, there's not one formula, it's a new formula every time. Gadi fast hai, I must wait. Slow che, I go. Halfway, oh my God, it's fast, come back. Sometimes get stranded. Sometimes go diagonal. Sometimes walk and then run. Sometimes just harsh bacho. But you do it every day. If you are in conflict, sometimes samajho gadi garam che to wait. Slow che to go fast. If somebody is really upset, then just go diagonal. I am telling you, if God, you cross the road because you don't think much. You do it by intuition. If you start thinking, what's the speed? I don't know the speed. What's the momentum? Will the driver put the accelerator faster? Will he brake? Or will a badat come in the middle? Or will a dog shout? You can't cross a road in India. Stop thinking and start living. You are the center of your world. You would be the center point who creates, generates, or dissipates conflicts. One man who was a patient, he comes to the doctor and he says, doctor, I'm really sick, I'm hurting. Doctor said, what's your problem? He said, my whole body hurts from head to toe. Doctor said, what type of a disease is that? He hurts. He said, show me. He said, it hurts a lot. Oh, bapre, bahut dukhe che. This hurts a lot, this hurts a lot, this knee. Everywhere he touched and pointed, he was shouting, my God, it's painful, painful. Doctor checked him out. There's nothing wrong. And he keeps saying, oh, this hurts, shoulder hurts. Every time, everywhere he touched, it was hurting him. Then the doctor took his entire MRI and X-ray. He found that he had a fracture in the finger. If you have a fractured finger, everything you touch, everybody you meet will hurt. You have to understand that the fracture lies within you. You must cure that. And exactly opposite. If you have a fractured personality, you will create conflicts and you will never be able to resolve conflicts everywhere and everyone you meet. But if you have an enlightened personality like Lord Ram, like Pramukh Swami Maharaj, and then you will never have conflict. So remember the last thing I want to say, that once God, He summoned His entire creation. And He said, if anyone has a conflict here, please tell me. Night, dressed in dark cloaks and in silver lining, she came up to God and said, God, I have a problem. God said, what? He said, I am constantly being harassed. I am stalked. I am constantly being pushed out by the day. God says, what? He said, sir, God, my Lord, the sun, he follows me where I go. He stalks me. He destroys me. And he hurts me. God said, that shouldn't happen in this creation. There should not be a conflict. He says, please solve this. God calls in the sun. And God says, son, please, I know you do so much for the people and the living creatures. But there is someone called night. You keep harassing her. You keep destroying her. You keep stalking her. And the son says, excuse me, God, what's night? God says, night. He says, I'm sorry, my Lord. What do you mean by night? God says, night. She complains about you. Then the son says, God, please bring night before me. I am ready to apologize. And God turns around and night has disappeared. If you become as enlightened as the sun, you will have conflicts nowhere, never, and never again. Thank you very much.